Have you ever wondered why, with just a few miles of water between them, Europe and Africa aren't connected by a giant bridge or tunnel? Imagine standing at the edge of the world's narrowest strait, the Strait of Gibraltar, and looking across to the vibrant shores of Africa. It's so close you could almost swim across it, but why is it that, despite being so near, these two continents remain separated by a seemingly simple obstacle? The answer isn't just about distance, it's tangled up in politics, history, and mind-blowing engineering challenges. Today, we're diving into the incredible story of why there's no bridge between Europe and Africa, and what it would really take to make that crossing happen. Stay tuned, because what you're about to hear might just change the way you see these two worlds forever. The Strait of Gibraltar, the gateway, and the obstacle. At the heart of this conundrum lies the Strait of Gibraltar, a narrow waterway that serves as a critical juncture between the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea. It forms the natural boundary between Europe and Africa and is one of the most strategic maritime choke points in the world. The strait's narrowest point measures just 8.1 miles, making it theoretically possible for a swimmer to cross. But crossing isn't the issue. The real challenge is what lies beneath, over, and around the water. The strait is bordered by three territories: Spain, Morocco, and the British Overseas Territory of Gibraltar. Each claims a stake in this vital area, making any development, like constructing a bridge, an intensely complicated diplomatic endeavour. The region is not just geopolitically sensitive, but also protected by international law, notably the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, which grants free passage rights for all vessels through the strait. This legal framework discourages unilateral changes that could threaten the freedom of navigation or provoke conflict. Gibraltar, a microcosm of tensions, Gibraltar adds another layer of complexity. This rocky promontory, perched at the southern tip of Spain, has been under British control since 1713, but remains a point of contention. The territory is a thriving tourism hub, famous for its towering limestone cliffs, nature reserves, and playful Barbary macaques. Over 34,000 residents call Gibraltar home, most of whom speak Spanish or English and enjoy a degree of independence. However, Spain continues to lay claim to the territory, viewing it as an integral part of its national sovereignty. Recent political developments, especially Brexit, have heightened tensions. As the UK exited the European Union, Gibraltar residents expressed a desire to maintain the free movement they enjoyed before Brexit, complicating negotiations about its future status. The question of whether Gibraltar would remain a British territory, become part of Spain, or evolve into a new political entity is still unresolved. Any ambitious project, like building a bridge from Europe to Africa, would likely start here. The distance from Gibraltar to Africa, feasibility or fantasy? If a bridge were to be built connecting Europe and Africa, Gibraltar seems the most logical starting point on the European side. The crossing from Gibraltar to Morocco is less than half the length of a marathon, making it physically feasible for pedestrians if the political and engineering hurdles could be overcome. But here's the catch: the next closest location between Africa and Europe, between Malta and Tunisia, is around 300 miles, a distance better suited for boats or airplanes. The idea of a direct bridge spanning the Mediterranean is tantalizing but highly impractical. The Mediterranean Sea is a vast expanse, with depths reaching over 3,000 feet in some areas, posing significant engineering challenges for such a structure. Past and present ideas, bridges and tunnels. The concept of linking continents isn't new. Engineers and visionaries have long dreamed of connecting distant lands through monumental infrastructure projects. One of the most iconic examples is the Channel Tunnel, affectionately known as the Chunnel, which connects the United Kingdom to France beneath the English Channel. Discussed as early as 1802, the tunnel was finally completed in 1994 after decades of planning and construction, costing over £9 billion, roughly $20 billion today. It remains one of the most ambitious engineering feats in history. The Chunnel is 31 miles long and primarily transports freight, passenger trains, and even a special shuttle service that carries cars. Its success demonstrated that undersea tunnels could be a viable method for connecting distant locations, inspiring hopes for similar projects elsewhere. However, a Gibraltar to Morocco tunnel or bridge presents far more daunting challenges. The geological conditions under the Strait of Gibraltar are complex, with deep waters and rocky terrain. Tunneling beneath such depths would require cutting-edge technology, and the costs would be astronomical. A proposed tunnel would need to span approximately 25 miles, plunging nearly 1,000 feet beneath the seabed, a feat demanding unprecedented engineering precision and safety measures. Engineering challenges over and under. Bridging the Mediterranean. A bridge spanning from Gibraltar to Morocco would need to be extraordinary in length and design. The longest bridges in the world, like the Danyang-Kushan Grand Bridge in China, stretch over 100 miles but mostly traverse land and shallow waters. Crossing open sea at such lengths would require revolutionary support structures, possibly artificial islands or floating supports, that are not yet feasible at this scale. Tunneling beneath the sea. The success of the Channel Tunnel proved that undersea tunnels are possible, but the Mediterranean's depth and geological conditions complicate such efforts. Advanced tunneling technologies would be necessary to navigate depths exceeding 3,000 feet. Moreover, the environmental impact, safety concerns, and political agreements between Spain, Morocco, and the UK would all influence feasibility. Political and diplomatic hurdles. Constructing a bridge or tunnel connecting Europe and Africa isn't just an engineering challenge, it's a diplomatic puzzle. The political relationships among Spain, the UK, and Morocco are fraught with historical tensions, colonial legacies, and ongoing disputes. Gibraltar's status. Any project involving Gibraltar would require delicate negotiations. Spain's claim over Gibraltar, the UK's sovereignty, and Gibraltar's residents' desire for independence or continued association with Britain complicate matters. The territory's strategic importance and tourism appeal make it a vital political bargaining chip. Morocco's perspective. Morocco's relationship with Spain and the UK is generally stable, but the colonial history and recent economic developments add complexity. Morocco might view such a project as an opportunity for economic growth and tourism, but could also see it as a potential threat to national sovereignty or regional stability. European Union and migration. The prospect of a physical connection raises concerns about migration. Europe has seen a significant influx of migrants from Africa and the Middle East, and a bridge or tunnel could facilitate movement, both legal and illegal. This possibility makes some policymakers wary, fearing it could exacerbate existing migration challenges. The future of the Europe-Africa connection. Despite the immense challenges, discussions about connecting Europe and Africa through infrastructure continue. In recent years, British and Moroccan officials have explored the possibility of linking Gibraltar to Morocco via a bridge or tunnel. These talks, ongoing since 1979, reflect both engineering ambitions and geopolitical realities. The road ahead. Building a bridge or tunnel between Gibraltar and Morocco would be one of the most ambitious projects in history. It would require unprecedented international cooperation, massive financial investment, and technological innovation. The cost could easily reach hundreds of billions of dollars, and the project would span decades. Economic and cultural impacts. If such a connection were realized, it could revolutionize trade, tourism, and cultural exchange. Cities like Tangiers in Morocco could become major hubs for travelers from Europe, boosting local economies and fostering greater integration. Environmental considerations. Large-scale infrastructure projects threaten marine ecosystems and coastal environments. Sustainable engineering practices and environmental impact assessments would be crucial to minimize harm. A bridge waiting in the imagination. For now, the idea of walking from Europe to Africa across a bridge remains a fascinating fantasy, one fueled by proximity, ambition, and the unending human desire to connect. The complex web of legal, political, environmental, and engineering challenges keeps this dream on hold. Yet, with continued technological progress, diplomatic efforts, and economic growth, what seems impossible today may become tomorrow's marvel. Until then, travelers will continue to rely on ships and airplanes to traverse the Mediterranean, and the world will watch as nations debate, plan, and dream of the day when a bridge between two continents finally becomes a reality.